And welcome back. When facing adversity, it can be easy to blame any misfortune on bad luck. But our next guest sees it differently. Self-described as the luckiest unlucky man on the planet, Ian Ward has been battling brain cancer since last year, beating the odds every step of the way.
While he fights his own personal adversity, Ian has found his purpose, pursuing 2 world records in next year's London Marathon while raising money for charity in the process.
And Ian joins us on the line from London to tell us more about his inspirational story. Ian, very good morning to you and thanks for being with us.
Hi, Ian.
And the same to yourselves.
Ian, we were chatting during the break there, and the first thing that struck both Anna and myself is how remarkably upbeat you are, given the adversity and in spite and despite of that you're facing at the moment. What happened in 2019, Ian? Because what's interesting is how you discovered your cancer.
I don't know if it was 2019. Oh, it was 2019. So I do clinical research trials, and by complete random chance, one of the pre-tests that they had to do was an MRI scan to make sure that my brain was perfectly healthy. And it was at that point they were like, you can't do the clinical trial. You've got a benign brain tumor. And I was like, oh, that's a surprise. Especially because in the previous clinical trial, they had done something called a CT scan on my brain, which actually detects brain waves. So completely undetected, something called asymptomatic is what I was. And then later, COVID kind of had a bit of an issue with that. But the second time that I got to see the doctors, they were like, okay, it's not benign. You need surgery for this. And that was in 2020, just sort of as COVID was kicking off.
So you went through the surgery, Ian, and what happened then?
So I went through the surgery, and it was kind of a love-hate moment because the big worry for me at the time was that the surgery was going to damage my ability to speak, which it did. But due to the fact that I'm so young, your brain is called something placid. It has a higher level of plasticity, which means that it can recover really well. And it did. So I got the surgery, and then within 6 days, my speech was back to normal. But then when I went in for the meeting, they were like, okay, that's great news about the about your speech returning and that your sight isn't damaged or anything like that. But we have done an analysis on the tumor that we removed from your head, and you're at stage 3 of cancer. So we're going to have to go with chemotherapy and radiotherapy. They were going to do that anyway. And at that point, I was sort of like, that doesn't sound particularly good. So I asked, well, what's that on they never tell you. That's only in films. But they when asked, they were like, okay, we really don't want to say, but it's around 5 years. But that's based on people who are 60, not 30. And so I kind of thought, well, if it is going to be 5 years, I may as well treat it like that and sort of take advantage of the title of someone who has cancer and break some world records because I'm still physically able to do that. So, you know yourself, I get the pity vote so I can rake in more money and try and make it easier to break the world record for raising the most amount of money ever.
And we will talk about that momentarily, Ian, but to be delivered such shocking, horrendous news like that you've stage 3 brain cancer, a prognosis of life expectancy of perhaps another 5 years, please God, longer. How, in God's name, do you reconcile with that kind of news?
Well, like the thing that it comes down to me is like it's almost difficult to acknowledge because it's not affecting my life particularly. I got this dog out of it. My mom gave me a dog, which was the only sort of upside and change in the life. And as you can tell, it is a significant change in the life. But other than that, like I lost some hair. The hair grew back. Fitness was fine for a while, and now it's starting to crank down a little bit. But the chemotherapy ends in 6 months, so it's difficult to get upset over things when things do not affect you. So it could be just that I'm in complete denial of the situation, but my life hasn't changed much other than social media grows faster because of the title that I'm able to give myself. So that's pretty much it.
You have an incredible attitude, Ian. Also, the fact that you're asymptomatic means life can go on and you're not feeling any ill effects from this tumour, but the chemotherapy must take its toll on some days. I know from talking to other people who've gone through cancer treatment, you know, you could feel great the day after chemotherapy and then 2 or 3 days later it will hit you.
So, not myself, probably because brain cancer, they can't hit it as hard as, say, if you have cancer in one of the other more popular organs, let's put it that way. Because you can do without parts of your colon, you can do without parts of your lungs. So they really whack it with the chemotherapy. But with the brain, they can't do that. So they ease off. So that's one of the big benefits of having brain cancer, is that the actual treatment, what's that phrase? The treatment is worse than the disease. Well, not when you have brain cancer. So the energy levels generally are absolutely fine. The only thing that I'm feeling is when I'm out training, and the pace settings are actually going down, which is frustrating, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. This will pass. This is to do with the chemotherapy medication. And yeah, so
Right then,
doesn't bother me so much.
let's talk about what you are training for. It's a pretty remarkable feat you are planning to undertake at the London Marathon. Tell us more.
Yeah, so I wanted to have 2 world records because, as I was saying, like, you know, if you add the title of someone doing anything and they have cancer, it obviously attracts a lot more attention because it's different. And so I wanted the world record for the most amount of money raised for charity, but I also wanted one that was exclusively just for me. And it was like, sort of, can you do it? And where it doesn't matter if I have cancer or not, because the record is going to stay and it's only going to change if I break it. And that is to run the marathon dressed as a video game character. Now, it's not the fastest, you know, 100-meter dash or anything like that. You know, you can kind of, if you choose what you want to dress as, stop. If you choose what you want to dress as, you can almost always have a world record in running a marathon. So, you know, I could do it a million other ways, but at the time, I started a YouTube account, and it was about playing video games as well as some other things. And so I thought video games suited the channel that I was doing, and also 3 hours is achievable, but it is very, very, very hard. So I thought that's the right level of what's it called, the flow system, where it's difficult enough but within your realm of actually achieving something.
Yes, and I think it shows your sense of humour, and there's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek moment to all of this. Who are you raising the money for, Ian?
So because I was doing it through social media, I thought, all right, well, I don't have a clue where my audience is going to end up. It could be South Africa that I'm the most popular in, because social media has a tendency to have a famous person look at you and they'll go, oh my God, this guy. So I didn't know where it was going to go. It seems to be growing fairly evenly across the board. But it is the 4 cancer research charities that are the American Cancer Society, the Irish Cancer Society, Cure Cancer Australia, and Cancer Research UK.
A global effort, and hoping to break the record of charity raised at the London Marathon of over 2.3 million. We can only wish you the very best with that, Ian, and continued good health to you also.
Take care of yourself,
Yeah,
Ian.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
See you now.